Today, we want to introduce you to our new dean, Dr. Sheila Nowinski, Vice President of Academic Affairs and Dean of the College. Harvard University, the oldest university in the United States, was founded in 1636, but didn't have an academic dean until 1831. Likewise, Thiel College, founded in 1866, didn't have a dean until Dr. O.F.H. Burt, a professor from Geneva College, was named academic dean when the college returned from Greensburg to Greenville in 1907. Before that time, the oversight of the faculty and the curriculum rested primarily upon the Board of Trustees with input from the president. Now in her third month as Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Nowinski is a member of the President's Cabinet and oversees the college's academic programs and faculty. While this is only the third month on the job as the dean, Sheila is no stranger to Thiel College. She came to Thiel in 2015 as an assistant professor of history and has steadily risen through the ranks, earning promotion to associate professor in 2020 and full professor in 2024. In 2020, she also took on the leadership of the Dietrich Honors Institute, creating new opportunities for Thiel's strongest students to engage in independent inquiry and research. She has served on numerous faculty committees, including Faculty Council, Promotion and Tenure, and the Faculty Executive Committee, as well as on faculty and staff search committees. Her contributions also include playing a vital role in drafting the college's strategic plan, Thiel 2026, Launching Leaders, as part of the Strategic Planning Committee in 2021. As the Kenneth and Mariana Brown Dietrich Honors Institute Chair, Dr. Nowinski provided exemplary leadership and strengthened ties between the Institute and the National College Honors Council, developed innovative curricula alongside honors faculty, and enhanced the honors student experience. Her expertise in French history has earned her recognition through peer-reviewed publications and presentations at national conferences. She has a bachelor's degree from Boston College and a Ph.D. from the University of Notre Dame. Thanks, Sheila, for joining us. Tell us more about your work as the academic dean and vice president of Thiel College.
Thank you, John, for that lovely introduction and the history of deanship, which I was not aware of necessarily. And so that's interesting and giving me something to sort of think about in the sort of history of higher education. And that's sweet. Maybe come back and touch upon that a little later. I'm really happy to be here and just really excited to be working and representing Thiel and the campus community and the academic programs at this, I think, exciting moment in Thiel's history. So we've got a lot going on this spring. It's busy as usual here on campus. So I can share a little bit about what we're working on right now, what is sort of at the top of my list every day lately. And then I'm really looking forward to hearing your questions and hearing more from you. Right now it's 2025. It's been about 5 years now since the college embarked on this new phase with graduate programs and graduate education with our PA program, our speech language pathology, and MBA programs. And so it's been an interesting time to see those programs kind of mature, and we're in a transition in some cases, like from that founders phase where you have that strong vision and leadership to a kind of more established and mature program where you have kind of teams of faculty that have been built out to really lead the programs into that next phase of maturity and growth. So that's been really exciting. Our founder of our SLP program, Mary Beth Mason, who did a wonderful job establishing that program, getting it accredited, getting it up and running, and it's one of our big strengths for the college. She moved on to other opportunities, but we found a new program director who's coming to us from Baldwin Wallace University. Her name is Amy Tepper. She's going to be starting May 1st. So we're really excited about her joining the college and taking on this SLP program, taking it to the next level for us. So that's something we're really excited about.
Sheila, can you tell them what SLP is?
Oh, sorry, speech language pathology. That really well kind of jewel in the crown for Thiel, in my opinion. It really dates back. That's communication sciences disorder and speech language pathology undergraduate program dates back many years, and then with the graduate program the last 5 years. Physician assistant is also has been around now for since 2021. We have a new director that's been with us since 2023. We have new faculty, 3 new faculty joined that program, I believe, in the last calendar year. So they're really building out a new team down there and are preparing intensely for our next accreditation visit from the physician assistant accreditation body. So that's been wonderful to see that program get established, and their work they're doing in the science building with us and those graduate students. And similar, the MBA program has been a kind of growing into its own and developing its own identity. I think it took us a while. What is a Thiel MBA program going to be? There are lots of different MBA programs out there, a lot of different options students have. And I think we've done a really nice job of identifying that Thiel aspect of a 5-year MBA program with lots of personal attention and mentorship, engagement with the community. So we've got a nice niche program there. Tony Koss has been our program director for MBA, and he's going to be retiring at the end of next year. So we're sort of thinking about what comes next in that program, and excited to see where that goes. I'm really happy for his retirement, the next phase for him as well. So those are our graduate programs, things that we're thinking about top of mind there. And then, of course, our undergraduate programs are always keeping us busy as well. Our new nursing program, or I shouldn't say new, we've had nursing now since 2020, 2021. We were paired with and partnered with the Sharon Regional Hospital. That hospital closed, so we had to reinvent that program when we lost the partnership. And we were really fortunate to have a nursing director, Nicole Shansky, who worked really intently with my predecessor, Greg Butcher, to put together a fully traditional in-house BSN program. So our first students will be graduating with a BSN entirely from Thiel in December 2026. And we are really excited about that, and seeing the changes that are coming with that program. It's been really popular, and we're excited for that. And of course, lots happening in our other undergraduate programs as well. We are just moving through a revision to our computer science and computer information systems programs that needed a little bit of updating. Those fields are always changing all the time. So we have a new assistant professor in the department who brought a lot of energy and good thought to those. So we're excited to go out and share those with students. There's some, new updates to political science as well. The business department is in a moment. They're thinking similarly, like sort of what's next, where do they go? They're like searching for a new business professor. So what's on the horizon for them, particularly with the renovations that'll be happening this summer. The business department will move from their location at the lower level of the academic center up to the first floor of the Spence Academic Center. So they'll have a sort of new showpiece, no place to be. And I think that's going to be really exciting for them to be there. So those are just some of the academic things going on in terms of academic programming. And maybe I'll pause there and just see if you all have any questions or ideas or other things you might want to know or hear about.
For the MBA program, you apply for admission when you are an undergraduate, and then you just stay right on. And are the MBA classes online, or are they in person?
Good questions. So the MBA program is in person. Students can apply when they apply as freshmen to Thiel, or they can apply along the way. And we also have students that decide and apply after graduating or they're in their senior year. So there are lots of different ways to enter. They're in-person classes, and we are exploring what we call high flex education, which would allow working professionals in the area to zoom into classes, sort of like we're doing now. We'd have a classroom set up with cameras and screens, and for those working professionals for whom driving to Greenville maybe doesn't work, they could zoom into the evening class and do the MBA, participate that way. So we're looking, we like the 5th-year masters and that traditional population, but to bring in some working professionals into that group, we think would be beneficial for the region to have that option. And but I think also really good for our students to build those connections and engage with sort of different other students and other folks with different levels of experience out there too. So that's something we're exploring now. And with our summer renovations, looking at upgrading some technology to be able to allow like I said, working professionals to Zoom in, sort of log out of work, log into the class after work and do that.
Asshole.
I have a quick question. As a student, graduated political science,
Yeah,
and still working and doing a lot of work in government affairs and elected, former elected official in Erie.
yeah.
Dave, first of all, thank you for what you're doing and welcome and all the good greetings and everything. I apologize, I missed that. Didn't say that. Can you touch a little bit on some of the changes or enhancements in the political science department in particular? Just kind of
Sure.
my affectionate place.
Yeah, of course. It's a department near to my heart as well, coming through history, and I worked a lot with those students and the professors in there. We had some transition in that department when our longtime political science professor moved on and to do some other forms of work. And we have a wonderful visiting assistant right now, Eric Matthews, who's done a wonderful job. And he's been looking along with some other faculty in the history department, also sociology, to sort of look at that curriculum and see where it can sort of be updated and maybe even streamlined a little bit. They had the program had put in there was a public policy major that was added, I want to say around 2018, 2019, that never attracted as many students as I think we would have hoped. I think students didn't quite sure what it was. And so what they've tried to do is pull a lot of that public policy and more like applied work into the traditional poli-sci major to sort of integrate them together and give all the students that experience, which I think is what really attracts them to the field.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's cool. That's amazing. And anything that I can do, again, as an alumni and city councilman in Erie for 13 years.
Oh,
I do
wow.
government affairs for the Erie Chamber right now for the last few years. So talk about applied application or applied science and applied skills in that space. I love to offer that.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm writing your name down right now. We have our visiting right now, Eric, Dr. Matthews did a course with a local government course, and they actually consulted with the school board in a little town in Ohio. One of our faculty members served on the board there, and they were doing a millage, and they did some consulting and work with them, and the millage passed. So they were really, really excited and pleased about that contribution they were able to make. So,
yeah, anything I can do as an alum and one of the advisory board members, I'd be honored.
That's great. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Nathan Nachinsky. I graduated 10 years ago from Thiel. My question for you is, what's your vision for the student support services that fall within academic affairs? So like the Learning Commons, career development, the registrar.
Yeah, those are great questions. Student support has been really at the top of our agenda as well. When I came into this position, we were also able to move my colleague, Kristen Carlson, to give her into a student success role. So she's still teaching in the faculty, but she's also overseeing our student retention efforts along our assist committee. So where faculty and staff members can report issues around students, and we look at their attendance records. And I was just speaking with her this morning. She has such a talent and a way of connecting with students and getting them to kind of reflect on their challenges and moving them toward advancing. So those kind of systems are still really important to what we're doing. And TLC is definitely a part of that, our Learning Commons and those tutoring programs that they do. Robin and Hannah and her team have done a great job with the supplemental instruction, the peer-led learning, and tutoring. I think they've done a wonderful job training up a team of students that can really be resources for their peers. Similarly, the Accessibility Resource Center, she does a similar thing. In career, we are really excited. We have a new career development director coming online just this week. She'll be starting full-time April 1st. So she's sort of getting her feet wet in the next few weeks as we onboard her. Her name's Jennifer Martin. She comes to us from Slippery Rock. She has a background in ROTC and done some teaching for Slippery Rock. But in that role, she worked with students, sort of preparing them for the job market and those kinds of things. And then she herself has, coming out of the military, was sort of experienced these kind of job career transitions. So that was really a thoughtful experience. She really spoke really thoughtfully about mentorship. That was really one of the things that excited me about her candidacy. So we talked about, and she's going to be working closely with David, who is involved in the hiring and search process, and we're in alumni relations, is building those connections between the career office and alumni to do alumni mentoring, to get an alumni involved in those kind of resume discussions, mock interviews, and those kinds of things, because we know we have such dedicated and talented alumni out there to sort of draw on them as a resource. And so she's thinking along those lines of building out some, admissions has their Thiel team. And I said, what we should do a career corps. And this is before I even knew I was hiring someone with a Army background. And so I don't know. I sort of like, maybe I shouldn't use that term now, but same kind of idea of like a training up a handful of students that can really be on the front lines, working with students and then connecting them with the alumni. So we're excited for that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Sheila, we talked about both political science and business administration, both of whom use some adjunct professors because of specific talents that they bring, but we don't want to have that person just full time. Are there other areas where the departments have a expert in an area? I'm thinking of business law and Ann Coleman's work in political science as a county commissioner. What other areas do we have that utilize adjunct professors because of the specificity of their area?
That's a good question. Going to make me think here, John. So though you mentioned the two big ones, I think particularly in like legal studies, we have a few excellent practicing attorneys in the area that contribute to that program. So that's sometimes political science in that department, sometimes even in the criminal justice and social department. So I think that's an important area. In business, again, those practitioners, I think those expert practitioners in there. In some areas like environmental science, there's a class that's about GIS, the satellite positioning technology. That's a pretty specialized field. So there's a local person who is versed in that to teach that class. So it immediately comes to mind. We do have other dedicated adjuncts and lecturers that help us, cover those core classes or cover other kind of classes as well. Just this past, one of the first things I did as dean, I got to come into Founders Day and give out those awards. That was sort of the first fun thing. So our adjunct of the year this year was Cynthia Dayton in the chemistry department, who assists with the labs and teaches some like intro level chemistry, like the gen ed chemistry classes, and has been really helpful in helping the chemistry department organize their materials as we get ready for these renovations too. So yep, they're can contribute, make lots of contributions to the college.
Would you talk about the Dietrich Honors Institute as both a former director of it and also what it does within the program, within the overall program of the college?
Yeah, that's great. So with my departure from Dietrich Honors, we have our new director is Sheila Gross, who's assistant professor of English. So we had one Sheila to another Sheila there. But she's been involved in the Dietrich Honors Institute for many years as a faculty member and an advisor and just working in the program. And she just brings a lot of creativity and energy to the program. So we're really excited to have her on board, and she's already thinking, she has great ideas and working with that group. We were also able to include Anna Renzel, our professor of environmental science, who's also been really involved in the program. She came on as associate director. So her focus is really the recruiting or that onboarding of our first year students and the honors first year seminar, where her talents really are. She's such a wonderful mentor and advisor, and even working with the faculty in that part of the program. So we've got Sheila Gross as the director and Anna Renzel as the associate director. And I think together they're really going to be able to grow that program in terms of its reach and into new communities and new schools to attract students to Thiel.
What kind of students come for the Honors Institute? What do you have to do to be in that?
Yeah, we're looking for academically sort of students who've risen to the academic challenge. So there's a high school GPA. We're tending to look to 3.7 or 3.8 kind of high school GPA these days, but we're also looking at transcripts, right? Are they taking challenging courses throughout their high school career? Are they seeking out challenges in other ways, maybe in working, co-curriculars and those kinds of things? So I always said the biggest qualification for the program, from my point of view as the director, was like, do you want to do it? Like, do you want to take on these challenges in the classroom, do some creative thinking? So the Honors Institute really is an opportunity for students who really want to maximize that academic experience in college. And to me, that was always the question I tried to elicit. Are you curious? Will you take some academic risks? Those kind of things. So, and the students come to us, like, there's a variety of majors. We've got almost every major represented in the honors program. They go on to graduate school, they go on to careers, and they contribute in all sorts of ways to the campus. So it's a really wonderful asset that we have.
What do they have to do to be part of the,
so
what's the additional requirements for them?
It's a different core curriculum that they complete. And so other students at Thiel are more or less taking a distributive type of core curriculum, where they take a history class or they take a math class, this kind of thing. The honor students take an interdisciplinary sequence of courses across their 4 years. And then it culminates in their senior year. They do an honors thesis, which is a project they design on their own with the faculty mentor. And it could be a research paper, but it could be something totally different. There's students that do creative, artistic works, applied projects, all sorts of things. So that's it can be a little scary or intimidating when those training wheels sort of come off and you have to do it on your own. But our program is designed to prepare them for that experience. And we've had a lot of wonderful, memorable projects, and students go on to present them nationally and regionally at conferences. So it's really exciting. And then I always say there are other perks. The students get to go on trips. I think just this weekend, Sheila and Anna are leading a trip of honor students down to Baltimore for the weekend. They'll go to the regional honors conferences in Harrisburg this year. So they'll be in Harrisburg presenting. So there are lots of opportunities for enrichment and travel with that program too.
Oh, quick question. When will the group be in Harrisburg, if I may ask? Or you don't have to, if you don't know.
I think it's the last weekend in March.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Because I'm in Harrisburg a lot for work, so it caught my attention. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Will they be at the Thiel reception in Baltimore?
I don't know if they worked out the timing of that, because they were coming in Friday. They get in late on Friday, the honors group. They're the busload. So, but yeah, they were able to make that connection a couple of years ago in Washington, D.C. We did a nice reception with alumni. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many students are in the honors program?
We take in about 60 students per freshman year. They come in. So that's sort of our goal. We say we're a pretty big honors program at a small college. So but I think it keeps the program kind of vibrant and interesting. There's no typical honor student, is what I would like to say. And I think it keeps the classes dynamic. It's not like a little, clique on campus. That they're all sorts. So it works out to be about 20% of our undergraduate class.
What challenges do you have in recruiting faculty?
I think it's a good question. Our location is difficult. I think that's one. There's just the pool of people that are around here or want to relocate in the area. I think in the program, in generally the areas where we are recruiting are fairly competitive. I think also it's not an easy job. The life at a small college where you're really part of the campus and campus community, it can be really rewarding, but it can be challenging too. It takes time. People spend a lot of time here. You get involved in your students and supporting them, and that's can be challenging work. We always think we always have each other to support one another. Whenever I get stuck on something, and it's been especially in the last 3 months, I think, Sheila, you're not alone solving this problem. This is not you. Find the person who can help you, give you another perspective, give you more information, find that person. And then I'm like, okay, then I feel I can handle it. I can do it. So I think that can help, but like I said, it's a challenging and full job. So finding the right person to to take it on can be difficult sometimes, but we do it. They're out there. Sort of like with our career director person, I think it's just, the person comes through the door.
Well, if I may say so, I would suggest that you suggest to her that her first stop be David Hummel's office, and that she's aware of the very large number of people who are standing by ready to help her. And
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And in fact, John, we'll have to put her on the schedule. Maybe for the fall, we'll let her Zoom from the archives. I could give her. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, John, about your comment about deans, that the first Harvard dean is until 1837 and 1907 until here. And I think it just speaks to, you know, the growing, like I was talking about the graduate programs and these specially accredited programs, the growing kind of complexity of higher education over the centuries. And we can see that as well in even at Thiel now, working with the registrar, Debbie Schreiber, who she's been at the college many, many years, and as registrar now, I think just the last couple of years, and seeing her way, her office, the work her office does now, she still does quite a bit by hand, like validating student transcripts and requirements. But the challenges of like, okay, now we have to do graduate transcripts. Can our computer system do graduate transcripts and undergrad? So those kinds of managing more complexity in all of these offices is certainly a challenge, I think, for higher ed generally. And you can see that in the changing roles and titles and roles in the administration across the centuries there.
Anyone else have a question? Well, Sheila, thank you very much for your presentation today. It helps for all of us to know a little bit more about the academic programs at Thiel. And we'll look, feel free, she's in the Thiel website if you need to contact her directly. Faculty and staff, it's pretty easy to get in touch with us. It's just our first initial and our last name at thiel.edu. So feel free to reach out to Sheila if you have questions or comments about anything academic. She's glad to answer them.
Yeah.
We'll be meeting again next month. And my Colleen Orteza, our librarian, will be talking about the Langenheim Memorial Library, past, present, and future. So thanks again, Sheila.
Great, thank
And
you.
look forward to seeing you next month. Everybody have a good day.